And just like that, we are back with Chapter 73 of the Universe According to Mugsy. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I am Mugsy the Creator, and we are talking about a few current events today. A few current events that are a product of our culture, which you, the audience, and I, Mugsy the Creator, co-create from our individual consciousness. And if you stick around long enough, I am going to teach you how to use that magic that you have to affect the culture and create the current events you wish to see before you. Honestly, guys, sometimes I wonder how thick you are. Does it smell like riot season in America again? It just seems like it. Oh, Donald Trump's first spring in office, it feels like we need to get a little bit of energy out, and Los Angeles has some more buildings that we need to remove to make way for the Olympics, which are coming through very shortly. How many times do we have to point out these cycles that are happening? Some of them just keep happening to goddamn Gavin Newsom, and it was pretty interesting to watch the mayor of Los Angeles there, who the last time when her city was burning down, I believe she was in Africa, and Gavin Newsom come out and say, hey, listen, Donald Trump, why don't you keep your National Guard to yourself? We have our crises under our own handle right now. Could you please stop it with all the help you're trying to do? Now, what happened the last time? The last time we didn't call in any backup for Donald Trump. Oh, that's right, January 6th. Do you remember how this all works? So if we call for the National Guard and you say, don't bring them, you're going to blame it on him later, right? But if he brings them too fast at the beginning to try and quell the momentum of everything that's going on, we're going to say it's some sort of insurrection because it's the first time it's happened since Selma. There's a lot of words in there, a lot of words confused. Which ones went with which thing? Oh, it's just getting so simple now. It's getting so simple. They're torching these cities time after time, every spring, when they need some sort of social uprising to distract the populace. Maybe use this as, the shining star to begin a budding relationship between the United States government and Palantir. All right, I've been hearing about these protests that were going to be happening from my buddy Walter Kern and Matt Taibbi for weeks now. They were talking about it because they have their ear to the streets of all the people that are talking. What's weird about these protests is they're so well planned out weeks in advance. These guys were hearing about the protests that are supposed to be what? About the people that are getting deported from this country? I don't even know anymore. It's so hard to grasp what the protest is actually about with all this destruction in the streets. Are these people with the Mexican flags the one that want to stay in this country? Then why are they waving the Mexican flag? It doesn't make sense anymore. Why the mask? Do you know that this deal with Palantir is coming through? Are you the one that's helping to create the uprising in the streets that creates the demand for the government to come in with its supply? Because Palantir is its own co-creation of the government. I don't know if we specifically talked about the origins. I know we've danced around the subject with the PayPal Mafia and my buddy Peter Thiel, who I want no smoke with whatsoever. I just want to talk about his company, which I am fucking allowed to do in this country, thank God. Palantir, which he co-created with the CIA. I say co-created because I started a company. I started a couple of companies in the past year. One of them is this broadcast right here to you, and the CIA didn't come calling me. They didn't offer up Langley or Richmond or any of the secret bases they have to develop my product for 2 years and agree to be the guaranteed financial backer and buyer of any of the technology that I produce in this podcast. Now, that could have been a very valuable agreement for the CIA. I know they like doing studies on people that believe they are channeling and manifesting energy out of this abundance. They believe in that sort of thing, but they didn't call me because that's not usually how it works. So I know that this relationship, however it started, I don't know, maybe Peter's best friend just happened to be some guy. They used to play baseball together, and then the first baseman started working for the CIA, and Peter kept up with that relationship over the years after Little League, and eventually he went on to start this company just to work with his best friend who he loves so much. I have no idea the origins of it. I'm just telling you what we know. I'm telling you that this company that is believed to be private just happens to have an unbelievably tight relationship with the deep state. All right? Because that's what the CIA is. This funding that they do, this private funding behind closed doors. We don't hear about everything until years later when it's disclosed to us through controlled channels leaked to friendly reporters at the Washington Journal or at the New York Times or the Washington Post, which is all controlled by the people that own them at the top, like Jeff Bezos or Rupert Murdoch, right? Which all have investments from Israel. So they get their 2 cents in, but when do the American public get their say? Supposed to be out in the streets. Supposed to be out in the streets in the LA riot. That's where I'm supposed to be right now. God damn it. I guess I missed my opportunity to peacefully protest. How do I know it's all so controlled? I know from the perceptions that are being thrust upon me, right? I'm supposed to believe that the entire media is covering these peaceful protests. They keep saying that. They keep saying peaceful protests, these mostly peaceful protests. Mostly peaceful protests. Oh, you need to meet my friend, the mostly friendly murderer, mostly peaceful most of the time, because let me tell you, when he went into that house, he only killed one person. There were 4 in there. He only murdered one of them. That's mostly peaceful to me, right? I know, I got another friend, mostly peaceful bookie. He only breaks the legs of people that don't pay him. He's mostly peaceful, as long as you pay him. This doesn't make sense. Am I to believe the media is that stupid to call these protests? If they are causing so much destruction, like I'm supposed to believe all the videos that I see circulating on social media. At the same time, you guys are calling it peaceful. That's how I know you're in on it, okay? It's a scam. It's no different than the scam people run in the goddamn restaurant. Everyone trying to skim a little off the top. If I've seen it once, I've seen it 1,000 times. What are you doing? You're creating the demand. You're creating the demand for the technology you've already created, that you need someone to beg you for, so they will give up more control and cede it to you. Because our data is very important. If we are the neurons, each one of us individual humans are the neurons on this planet Earth, which is the brain. You need to control as many of us as you can, and you need our power, but we have to give it up willingly. So you like to create these magical events out of thin air that convince the mass media by spreading these viral videos on the internet like a virus, controlling the minds of the people that are nowhere near that event, that if they were, they'd be able to see how perfectly controlled it was. Are these things starting to come together for you? Did we just climb the ladder all in one current event? Were you able to see how all of this is actually controlled from behind the scenes so that you have no goddamn say in it? There is danger to this stuff. That's why I'm never the one breaking the news. Anything that I am talking about and I am teaching you how to do, I am creating from my own consciousness, manifesting into reality, channeling that information from the Akashic field, all of the information and energy that exists and surrounds us through the ether at all times. That is something you, God-given, have the ability to do so yourself because of the technology that exists in the human body. I am not doing anything that you cannot do yourself. All right? That's why I am not worried. I have no fear. I'm not breaking new information. All I'm doing is pulling information that already exists, and I do not want to break any information to try and break up any of the power structures that already exist. They're going to do a good job failing on their own. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe that. I have so much hope for humanity, for all of the things that I see here. It's pretty amazing, but it doesn't mean that I don't rely on people doing the unbelievable, dangerous, hard work at the sources of the information that are getting it out to the masses or doing their best to do so. And let me tell you about one of my friends, Glenn Greenwald. Oh, what an inspiration. What a brave man Glenn Greenwald is. We've talked about his work with Edward Snowden and releasing to the American public the fact that its government had been spying on them without their knowledge for decades. And they weren't going to do anything about it. Glenn's work creating The Intercept, I believe that's the company he started, and continuing trying to push independent journalism inside of institutions, some of which he created himself, only to be controlled by the funders, the editorial privilege taking away from him, leaves him in Brazil, once again starting from scratch. And that's what true journalists do. That's what anyone who has a fire in their goddamn belly, a purpose in their heart, and some sort of heart-mind coherence will give their life for. And I goddamn appreciate Glenn for it. He's dedicated his life to bringing us the news, the events that are truly happening, that have an effect on the greater culture, on the greater populace, on humanity. He sheds light on these. And because it is so dangerous doing what he does, he chooses to reside in Brazil. That does not protect him from the powerful people that are always reaching out to screw with him because of what he is seeking to uncover. So Glenn Greenwald, thank you so much for the work that you do. Many of you may see Glenn's private sex tape leaked in the news, and I think it's just one example of someone trying to shame Glenn, who is an openly gay man, father of 2, I believe, whose husband just passed away of a very rare form of cancer within the last year, I believe. It's an incredibly insensitive thing to leak out to the world. Our own individual sexual nature, which we all have, is supposed to be something that if we choose to share it with the world, we are free to do so. And if we choose not to, it is to remain our own private life. But Palantir, these companies that we just talked about, we'll get more into, they have access to all of the information that is stored digitally. They can get into any server, any mainframe, any cell phone, any device, any camera, even if it's not supposed to be recording. It can turn it on, right? These technologies exist. And this was an attack on Glenn in some way, shape, or form to throw him off his game, to prevent him from continually doing the amazing work that he has done time and time again, which at one point this world recognized with a Pulitzer Prize for the work that he did. But in today's day and age, it would seem that more of the institutions and governments around the world fear him. Perhaps that is because he is starting to truly gain some power and some traction in the world. I would very much encourage you to take a look at his live nightly show on Rumble, which System Update is what it's called. Glenn does amazing work, and I'm sorry that he had to go through this event publicly, but I am unbelievably sure that it will make him stronger and it will create more resolve in the purpose that he has to shine a light on the darkest areas of society. For us to decide whether or not we'd continue to integrate them into who we are, or if the light will be the disinfectant that allows us to choose for ourselves as a culture to go into a new direction and produce new current events so that Glenn doesn't have to risk everything that he stands for every time he has to go uncover a story. Now, Palantir. We want to get more into the Palantir. What is it? This company that Peter Thiel and Alex Karp started. these two technologists that seem to only be interested in humanity because data is truly at the heart of everything that they are interested in. The data, that is the choices and the decisions that you make and what may or may not affect them. These fleeting, ephemeral experiences that my friend Dr. Epstein has captured so well using his new platforms, working with Google over the last election cycle. That's a side note that we've talked about plenty, but Palantir is the corporation that is now going to be handed the keys to assemble all of the government's data in one place and utilize artificial intelligence to go through and sort that data. I wonder what it is they are looking for. This private contract that's just been doled out to Palantir. All right, Palantir, the same company that just signed an agreement with AI with Elon Musk and X. Palantir, the same company that just signed another agreement with BlackRock. Oh, and they were able to collect and gather all of this data through DOGE, through the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Isn't that interesting? And what use would they have in the LA riots collecting data on private citizens without their knowledge unless we beg them to do so? Unless things get so bad, we beg them to start implementing this technology. So really, what a dangerous place we are at in society. What a dangerous place. Because it wasn't long ago. Do you guys remember? We talked about it on this broadcast. I talked about I had never seen during the last presidential election. Every weekend, people in the streets, overpasses covered with people with the MAGA agenda, Donald Trump waving those flags, make America great again. I remember how much hope we all had that the country was going to change. And they're taking that away from us slowly. Because I saw another gathering this week of people in the streets on overpasses. I thought they were celebrating. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what do we got going on now? What kind of hope are we spreading in the street? And as I'm coming up on this overpass, it's all women. All women. We got some rainbow flags, maybe a couple of homosexuals. I can't tell because the genders are no longer clear as they used to be. Now are they waving these rainbow flags, celebrating their own individuality, asking for everyone else to please accept them and celebrate them for who they are, truly? No. That wasn't it. It was all of this hate. No King's Day. Take Donald Trump out of office. Misogyny is everywhere. All of this hatred. These angry women spewing this venom into the streets. And I'm thinking to myself, what a great country we have. What an amazing country we have. For people to feel free. To be able to spew this. And most of them had different color hair. They were wearing pins and identifiers that signified that they were a part of some specific group. Now I know, because I drove by, that those are the people that I need to stay away from if I want to create a healthy, hopeful environment. That's crazy. Never in my life would I ever do that. Would I ever go into the street and start spewing about the things that I hate? Because I understand consciousness, which we're going to get into in a moment. But don't think I don't have my own individual thoughts on this whole Donald Trump parade. All right, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I'm so happy that people feel comfortable enough to express themselves authentically. Because it makes it easier for me to identify the people that I need to stay away from. The people that I don't know whether they're on drugs or they need to be on drugs. The people that need to get in touch with themselves, but they're not in touch with themselves right now. So until then, they need to stay indoors, okay? I'm happy that these people are outside. They're easier to stay away from. I don't want to surround myself with any of that hate. I never want to oppress women the way that they're trying to oppress men right now. Right? That's all they're doing. Oh my God, we have a man sitting in the same office a man was in last time. But this time I feel comfortable to... Why do you have that darkness inside of you? What is that that's coming out that you now feel comfortable enough because there's a guy with orange hair in the White House to be able to manifest and express through you? That is some deep, dark shit, okay? And I was talking to my wife about it. I said to her, is there anything you feel that passionately that you need to get out of your system? Is there anything you would die for? A transformative experience that you think you've gone through, that you now feel changed enough that you're willing to die for? Because I have one. I have one of those experiences. I have one of those experiences of purpose in this life. Some sort of change that I went through. The dark night of the soul that taught me that I have this heart-mind coherence that I need to listen to at all times. And I need to follow this path, even if it means assured death, because that's what I am here to do. And she said, that seems like a path that you should follow. And I said, that's interesting, right? Because I can't follow this path without the love and support of you, my wife. That's what makes this path so easy to follow. It's almost like a man and a woman who are designed for a certain reason to come together to create some sort of magic. But we also, my brother-in-law just had a child. So we, being surrounded by children, also acknowledge, wait a minute, transformative experience. That kind of seems like the thing that just happened to my sister-in-law. She just had a child, and it's like she became a different person. All of a sudden, there is a purpose to her, something she would be willing to die for, to protect. Interesting. We don't have any children of our own, so maybe my wife has not gone through that same transformative experience that exists out there for all women to potentially go through if they choose to do so. But until then, my wife has agreed to come with me on this ride, this journey, this purpose that I feel so tied to in this life, that I understand through my heart-mind coherence, and maybe that union is what creates the magic to allow it to manifest itself through us in this creation. Now, that is how I was able to find the compassion that I had to find in my heart for all of those women out there spewing that hate. Oh, I had to find the compassion for the men in their lives first. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine what paths the men in their lives, young, old, in the middle, in between. There must be so much hate projected on them in their own individual personal life. If these women that exist in their life feel so comfortable to spew this hatred out here publicly, can you imagine what happens behind closed doors? Oh, that's the reality we exist in. It's a reality that many people want you to believe is what the men are doing to the women in our lives. But I've worked for a lot of women and not a lot of men. Perhaps it's time we re-examine our own individual power structures and the hate that exists within all of us. That darkness is what must be transmuted and alchemized into the new experience. Because the consciousness is the projection of our own emotional state. That's how this all works. That's how this whole game is created. I don't know why. But once you figure that out, once you tap into that and you understand it, reality makes a whole lot more sense. That darkness is there for you to explore. Sometimes I feel the need to go out and yell in the middle of the streets, because that's the look in everyone else's face that makes me understand the darkness that truly exists inside of me, that I need to explore because I'm projecting it onto other people. There's so much potential to be tapped into when we learn how to channel our energy and control our own emotional state. That produces our own reality that we get to experience in real time. That is the consciousness. And those riots, how do I know those riots are not organic in nature? It's because riots and protests are supposed to be created by the people that are on the bottom of society. The people with no hope, no job, no opportunity. And that's me, right? That's me. No home, except for the house that I had to move into with my parents. $12,000 that I made last year for my job serving people. I am supposed to be the one that has no hope for a future. Except what I did was I laid down on the bottom of society because I knew I could alchemize that experience and make it the exact dream that I wanted to walk into. Because in my dream, I'm close to my family. I'm never not around them to support them through whatever they need. And living in this house, it gives me the opportunity to do that. I love being a waiter. It's one of my favorite jobs. It's the way that I get to perform for people on an everyday basis, use my energy in some way to perform for them to create a better dining experience. And in the meantime, I get to help everyone around me. It created the time that I need to be able to remove all the excess from my life and return to a simplicity that gives me the perfect balance that I need to follow my purpose, which has become this podcast. To teach you all how to channel the energy that you need. The beliefs that are currently your boundaries will be removed when you start to believe in all the potential that exists inside of you through the quantum mechanics, through the superposition of the electrons, through everything that is happening in this experience right now. The darkness that you're afraid of is exactly what you need to alchemize to create the gold that will be the new reality that you exist in. It's that simple. It's that simple. And the only way to get there is to control the chemistry by eating healthy, remembering the breath that allows you to feel the emotions and information that is coming through, and remembering to laugh at yourself because you don't know anything. All right, but you get to choose the experience that you have here. That is the magic that we each hold within each of us. That we were willed from whatever divine creator you believe in. All right? I love you. Take back your consciousness. I'm out.